The cameras were rolling, the music pulsing with tension, and the air in the room thickened as Jasmine stepped into the spotlight. For weeks, rumors of poly relationships and secret entanglements had been buzzing through Atlanta, and Rasheeda Frost was once again at the heart of a scandal. But this time, it wasn't about Kirk's past mistakes. This time, the confrontation promised to break the Frost household apart. Jasmine entered the scene with no hesitation, no fear. Her resolve was clear. She wasn't here to play nice. This was her moment to expose the truth and shut down the rumors that had plagued her. As the spotlight shifted, all eyes went to Kirk. The man who had always been the center of drama, always ready with an excuse, sat there stone-faced, his silence deafening. Was it guilt? Was he in shock? Or was it just another one of his attempts to escape accountability? Rasheeda's face painted a different picture. Anger flickered in her eyes, exhaustion took its toll, and disbelief radiated off her as she stared at the man who had put her through endless heartbreak. The room felt like it was suffocating with tension. Jasmine's words pierced the silence like a blade. This wasn't just another passing rumor. This was a bombshell that could change everything. If I was involved in something like that, she said, locking eyes with Rasheeda, why would I hide it? I've never hidden who I am. I put it all out there. Why would I keep secrets now? The room fell into a stunned silence. Cameras zoomed in, catching every detail. The way Rasheeda's face flickered with shock, how her hands trembled slightly. But it was Kirk's silence that spoke volumes. He said nothing. His body language was stone cold, as if he was hoping the storm would pass him by. But it didn't. Rasheeda, worn out and angry, leaned toward him. Her voice trembled with raw emotion. You're just going to sit there? You've let everything be said about me, and you don't even have the decency to say a word? Not one word. Kirk shifted uncomfortably, but remained silent. His response was a weak shrug, as if brushing everything off would make it go away. But Jasmine wasn't done. She leaned forward, her eyes burning with defiance, and added another incendiary line. Let's be real here. My name didn't end up in this rumor by accident. Somebody put it there. Somebody wanted this to spread, and that somebody is Yandandy. The room erupted. Rasheeda's head whipped around, disbelief written all over her face. Yandandy? Of all people? This was a woman she had once trusted, laughed with, cried with, a woman she had broken bread with. Now, Jasmine was calling her out as the puppet master behind the drama, stirring up chaos from the shadows. Jasmine pressed on, her tone steady but sharp. She sat with me. She overtalked me, made it sound like I was involved in something I wasn't. For a second, I even doubted myself. But when I replayed it in my head, I realized it wasn't me. It was her trying to create a narrative. Rasheeda's jaw tightened, her glare shifting to Kirk, her frustration boiling over. Do you hear this? Do you see what's being said about us? About me? And you're just going to sit there like none of it matters? Kirk barely moved, his eyes flicking between Jasmine and the floor. The man who had always been able to talk his way out of everything had no words this time. Not a single excuse. Rasheeda slammed her hand against the armrest, the sound cracking through the room like thunder. Her patience was on the edge, and the cameras didn't miss a second of it. Fans at home felt every ounce of her frustration, the rawness seeping through their screens. Jasmine leaned back in her chair, her smirk only fanning the flames. If it was happening, why hide it, she said, her words cutting through the air. Why pretend like it's some dirty secret? If you're grown, be grown. But don't drag my name into it if it's not real. Rasheeda's glare was cold and sharp as she snapped. Sit there and act like you're innocent, but you knew exactly what you were doing. You let yourself get tangled in this mess. But Jasmine didn't flinch. No, she retorted, her voice calm yet defiant. What I did was defend myself. I refused to let someone else define me. And if you think I wanted to be part of this storyline, you're wrong. But since my name's already in it, I might as well tell the truth. The tension in the room was electric, charged with years of betrayal and mistrust. Every word, every glance, every pause hung heavy with meaning. Meanwhile, Kirk sat in the background, shrinking further into the shadows, hoping the storm would pass him by. But the storm wasn't going anywhere. Outside the room, the whispers grew louder. Fans, castmates, and even strangers pieced together their own theories. Was Jasmine telling the truth, or was she just stirring the pot? Did Yandy plant the rumors to deflect from her own marriage troubles? Or was this all part of a bigger game? One thing was certain. The cracks in the Frost marriage were more visible than ever. Rasheeda's fury was raw, her patience hanging by a thread. Kirk's silence was deafening, and Jasmine's boldness ensured there would be no turning back. The episode didn't end there. Jasmine's words replayed endlessly in viewers' minds. If it was happening, why hide it? Some saw it as Jasmine daring the Frosts to face the truth, while others saw it as the final nail in the coffin of the rumor. And through it all, Rasheeda's face remained etched in the cameras, a woman who was fed up. The tension was palpable, thick enough to cut through the air as the drama unfolded. Jasmine, unshaken, stood in the eye of the storm, her eyes flashing with the kind of confidence that could shatter worlds. She wasn't hiding from anyone. She wasn't retreating. She was throwing down the gauntlet, daring anyone to challenge her truth. Meanwhile, Rasheeda Frost, once the queen of composure, found herself facing a scandal too great to ignore. This time, it wasn't just about Kirk's endless stream of past mistakes. It was a confrontation so raw, so intense, it threatened to tear apart everything she thought she knew. Jasmine had made her move, stepping forward not as a victim, but as a woman who owned her narrative. She'd faced the rumors head-on, and when asked about her role, she made it clear. If I was involved in something like that, she said, her gaze locking with Rasheeda's, I wouldn't hide it. I've never hidden who I am. Why would I start now? The silence that followed her words was suffocating. The air crackled, thick with unspoken emotions. Kirk, the man at the center of it all, sat in stunned silence, his usual bravado nowhere to be found. Fans watching this unfold could almost feel the weight of his unspoken guilt, his refusal to defend his wife or confront the chaos he had helped ignite. But Rasheeda wasn't about to let it slide. Her eyes flared with a mix of disbelief and frustration. The years of public humiliation and private betrayal had taken their toll, and now, she was left standing alone in the rubble of a marriage that seemed to be crumbling before her eyes. Jasmine wasn't backing down. She doubled down on her stance, turning to face the other cast members. If it was happening, I wouldn't hide it. That's just who I am, she repeated, her voice sharp with a new edge. But she wasn't done. The next words she threw like a grenade at the group sent shockwaves through the room. Some people out here are more worried about their own mess, so they're using me as a distraction. I'm not the problem here. It's someone else. A pointed jab at Yandy. It was a claim that rattled everyone, but none more than Rasheeda, whose world seemed to shudder with each passing second. Jasmine wasn't just accusing her of being involved. She was accusing Yandy of pulling strings, trying to shift the blame. And when word of this got to Yandy, the fire spread faster than anyone expected. Yandy wasn't about to take this lying down. In her own confessional, she shot back, seething with anger. Jasmine can say whatever she wants, but I don't air people's dirty laundry. If she's feeling guilty, that's on her. Don't drag me into it just because you're trying to deflect. The back and forth turned into a full-fledged battle, dividing fans down the middle, each camp claiming to have the truth. But through it all, Kirk remained hidden, a man of silence and avoidance. The one time he spoke publicly, his words did little to quell the fire. People will say what they want, he muttered vaguely. I know my truth, and that's all that matters. But those words did nothing but raise suspicion. If he knew his truth, why not speak it? Why let Rasheeda take the brunt of the rumors while the world watched, waiting for him to step up and fight for his marriage? Rasheeda's response was far more visible and far more raw. She took to social media, posting cryptic messages that fans immediately tied to her fractured relationship. Quotes about loyalty, self-respect, and the exhaustion of defending herself in a world that loved to tear her down. One post read, "Silence is still an answer, and sometimes It's the worst one. The comments flooded in. Fans urging her to leave, to walk away from the man who had once been her everything. Predictions of the end filled her timeline. But Rasheeda didn't show her hand. On camera, she still wore the mask of strength, a woman who refused to let scandal define her. But beneath that mask, a storm was brewing. The next group event was a ticking time bomb. Jasmine arrived, unbothered, while Rasheeda kept her distance, every step measured, every glance cold. Kirk hovered awkwardly between them, his body language defensive, refusing to make eye contact with either woman. The tension could be felt from miles away. And then Rasheeda snapped. "You've got a lot to say when I'm not around," she called out to Jasmine, her voice sharp, cutting through the heavy silence. "Why don't you say it to my face now?" Jasmine didn't hesitate. She crossed the room, her footsteps deliberate, her voice calm but sharp as a razor. "I already did," she shot back. "You just don't want to hear it. I spoke the truth. If something was happening, I wouldn't hide it. And if you think I'm the problem, maybe you need to look a little closer to home." The room held its breath. The crowd gasped. Tension hung in the air so thick, it was suffocating. Rasheeda's face twisted in fury. Her eyes flashed with a fire that could have burned the entire room down. "Don't you dare put this on me," she growled. "You came into my life, into my marriage, and now you're acting like you're the victim?"
"No, ma'am."
"That's not how this works." But Jasmine was unmoved. "I didn't come into your marriage. Your marriage was already cracked before my name even came up. Don't blame me for what was already broken." Kirk shifted nervously in his seat, muttering under his breath, "This is crazy, man." His attempt to ease the tension only made things worse. Rasheeda whipped around to face him, her voice laced with disbelief. "Oh, now you've got something to say?" she sneered. "Now you want to speak up when it's convenient." The room fell dead silent. All eyes were on Kirk, but once again, he shrank back into his silence. By the end of the night, the cracks in the Frost marriage were more visible than ever. Jasmine walked away, her head held high. Her reputation was both solidified and questioned in equal measure. Yandy fumed from the sidelines, angry at being dragged into this mess. And Rasheeda, once again, was left standing alone, her fury simmering beneath the surface. The next morning, the aftermath of that night's confrontation spread like wildfire. Group chats buzzed, phones were lighting up, and everyone in the love and hip-hop circle had an opinion. Some friends reached out to Rasheeda, others to Jasmine, while a few quietly approached Kirk, hoping to understand why he chose silence over confrontation. For Rasheeda, the weight of it all was unbearable. Not just her marriage, but now her loyalty to her friends was being questioned. Sitting at the kitchen table with her cousin, scrolling through endless comments, she muttered, "I can't keep doing this. Every time I try to rebuild, something else falls apart." Her cousin leaned in, trying to comfort her. "People are going to talk, regardless. But sis, you can't keep letting him sit back like nothing's happening. He has to fight for this too." Tears welled up in Rasheeda's eyes, but she quickly wiped them away. "I'm tired of being embarrassed," she whispered, her voice thick with emotion. "I'm tired of people laughing at me like I'm a fool." And he just sits there, acting like silence fixes everything. Meanwhile, Jasmine wasn't slowing down. At another gathering, sipping her drink with unshaken confidence, she once again took a subtle jab. When asked about Kirk's silence, she smirked and said, "Maybe silence is an answer. Maybe he's not denying it because he knows it's true." The scandal wasn't over. It had just begun. The storm is far from over, and the questions keep piling up. What's really happening behind closed doors in the Frost household? Is Kirk guilty of turning a blind eye, or is Jasmine just playing a dangerous game with the truth? And what about Yandy? Is she really the mastermind behind this chaos, or is she just another pawn in this ever-developing scandal? Fans are split, and the drama is far from finished. Rasheeda is fighting for her marriage, but with Kirk's silence growing louder, can she really trust him anymore? Can a marriage survive the constant weight of betrayal, rumors, and public humiliation? Or will this finally be the breaking point that shatters everything? As the tension builds, the question on everyone's mind is clear. What's next for the Frosts? Will Rasheeda finally stand up for herself and make the tough call, or will she continue to fight in the shadows of her husband's silence? With every episode, the stakes get higher and the cracks in their marriage widen. The pressure is on and the entire world is watching. Don't miss the next chapter in this explosive saga. Hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and stay locked in because the truth is coming and it's going to leave you speechless. Share your thoughts below. Who's in the wrong here? Is it Jasmine, Yandy, or Kirk? The fallout is just getting started, and you won't want to miss a second of this scandalous ride. This is more than just drama. This is real-life betrayal, heartbreak, and the fight for everything they've built. Stay tuned, because things are about to get even more intense.